Hi, my name is Sherry Condit, and I'm a teacher here at Woodland High School. And in a small school like mine, you end up wearing a lot of hats. I'm an instructional coach, a classroom teacher, the ASB advisor, and a homecoming coordinator here at Woodland High School in Woodland, Washington. We're a small rural community at the base of Mount St. Helens, nestled by the Columbia River, and it's an amazing community to teach in. I want to talk a little bit about who I am and how that's largely shaped who I am as a teacher. My parents were active duty military, which caused us to move a lot. We were pretty mobile. Every 3 to 4 years, I transitioned to different schools. And I found myself oftentimes feeling a little stuck and not knowing anybody. And yet it was always the teachers that were the stabilizing forces in all of those moves. I felt really very thankful to be able to have teachers that I could rely upon. And as you can see, my academic history is pretty rich. We went to Department of Defense schools. I went to public schools in Michigan and public schools in Idaho. And I found myself, it's no surprise, choosing to go to a public university. I went to the University of Idaho and then later on Illinois State University. Where I graduated with a bachelor's degree and I earned my master's degree in history from Washington State University. My teaching background, my first teaching job brought me to Bartlett High School, Bartlett, Illinois, which is a large suburban high school with 3,500 students. And I worked on a team of over 20 social studies teachers. And that's also largely shaped who I am because it made me collaborative. And when you're a first year teacher, it's really easy to get isolated, sort of feel yourself on an island and not ask for help. But I was forced to have to ask for help because we planned all of our work together. And it's still how I prefer to work as a teacher today, working on a team. In 2003, I sought to leave the state of Illinois for moral and philosophical reasons when it came to education funding. I wanted to change things. And I wanted to look for a state that had a little more parity in how it funded education. And Washington was one of those. So in 2003, I accepted a job at Woodland High School in Woodland, Washington, and I've been there now for 20 years. My professional experiences include being an NBCT, being a teacher of the year for the state of Washington. I was a finalist for that. I was the history teacher of the year. And for 15 years, I served as the president of our Woodland Education Association, successfully bargaining 6 collective bargaining agreements, including an increase of pay of 22%, decreased class sizes, and $2,500 for professional development for our teachers. I think when you ask how am I working to be an agent of change, I would say that's what I've been doing for most of my career. I supported and created a national board cohort. My work in the EA leadership, I think, speaks directly to how I'm creating change for the teachers and the students in my community. As an ASB advisor, I've largely helped make sure that student voice is actively heard. I've done support to help new teachers and done advocacy work at the national level, even working with my congresswoman on support for Title II funding. In terms of leverage, you asked, how do I leverage my relationships? I would say that I've done some of that work a bit already. If you look at my record, you'll see that I did some legislative roundtables. This was one way that I tried to connect teachers, award-winning teachers, with legislators so that they could talk about what their concerns were. But I've also created an amount of relationships through my work in my EA, through my leadership in WATAC, through the awards that I've received, and through my civic background, having served and participated in a variety of voter registration work and creating PSAs for our community with my students. I think all of that has helped me build relationships with leaders and policymakers. So that's me. I'm Sherry Condit from Woodland High School in Woodland, Washington.